Hey TJ, this is fun to try to trade some ideas, and I have a few things that I'd like to suggest that might be fun. Since the decades have passed and we haven't worked together in a long time, one idea that's really central I like to get across is that the rhythmic foundation of the thing is number one. If you had to make a hierarchy, the rhythmic phrase is the thing that might be leading you as an improviser. If you put that first, a lot of other things just happen if you practice enough and get loose enough on the instrument. One means of demonstrating this is to just simply play a single note in rhythm. How about if I just play a phrase like ba da dee dee da dee da 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 da. The rhythm's there, but it's not as easy to tell that something's changing because the pitch is the same. So at this point I basically say pitch is there to reveal what the rhythm's doing. So rhythm motivates pitch, and pitch is there to serve the rhythmic phrase and make it clear what the contour is, that something's happening in the rhythm. If you look at the music of Bach, I think it's pretty clear that this is what he was doing quite often, is his pitches are there to illuminate his rhythms. So if I play da do do da do da bo do da, same phrase, but now there's pitches on it, and I'm hoping it's easier to hear that the rhythm's changing. Of course, we usually get taken up by the pitch and taken away melodically, which is okay, but nonetheless. Another thing you want to make sure you have together is playing up and down on one string, say 3-note phrases that follow one from another. In this case, if I just play, I'm in the key of 1 sharp here, as we will be for most of this. Say if I start on A. So the idea of this phrase then would be that it starts with a lower note, has a middle note, and a higher note, and that we move this up diatonically through the scale. You might have done this stuff already, I apologize. So here's... So the reason I'm saying that this is important is that it allows us to improvise and play something that we've never played before, but also to hear it very clearly before we play it. So if I played a few of these, how about... I have a feeling that if I were to stop, you can hear that next one. Dee dee a bee a. Dee dee a dee doo. So this kind of work is invaluable. You can do it with starting with 2 notes, or just how about... And we are thinking of a contour. We're thinking of a low note, a higher note, and a lower note in this case. Low, high, low. If you look at the music of John Coltrane, you'll see this quite a bit, that notes are clustered together in a little contour shape. So even though the line sounds very long and 16th notes and a lot of wind behind it, inside you'll find these little bitty melodies, 3-4 note groups happening. Anyway, so I'm going to take a few shots at improvising over this track that you sent. I appreciate you sending it and having the interest in this stuff. Another little point I'd like to make is that in each key and for every chord, there might be a few notes that really shine, and that we don't necessarily have to think of the whole scale the whole time. That, say in this tune, every time the C major 7 comes up, I'm going to mostly be focusing on this F sharp, wherever it might be, that the tritone in the key of 1 sharp between C and F sharp, it's a really interesting place. In fact, both of the half steps in any major key are where a lot of really interesting things happen. So in this case, F sharp to G and B to C. And the idea is to be building melodies and making melodic sense, but feeding ourselves a rhythm that we want to continue and carry on. So I'm going to hit the space bar here and see if you can hear this backing track, and then I will play a little bit and see what comes of it. There's B minor, there's E minor, here's E minor. One thing I want to talk about, this is something you can always do. So on a minor chord, here we're starting on this kind of E minor sound, is to run an inner line with E minor, so this is E minor with a major 7. This would be the same line in My Funny Valentine or Stairway to Heaven or Michelle by the Beatles, bunch of tunes. But it's this minor, minor major 7, minor 7, minor 6. And if you continue the line down, you get to the C, which is in this case the next chord. Quite a lot of bebop lines have this minor, minor major 7, minor 7, minor 6 information built into them. We just don't hear it that way right off the bat. But if you analyze a lot of the first generation bebop, this is there for sure. Another thing we talked about briefly in the messaging is the idea of phrasing this whole thing with quarter note triplets, which I think I started to do right away. It's more or less just how I hear things now, because it puts you in all the places of the bar where the band isn't really. Particularly if the drummer's hearing this as a 4/4 kind of a thing. If I play quarter note triplets over this, I'm going to be in a lot of empty space, I hope. So if I hit the space bar again, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Also hard not to hear the B. When it goes E minor, C major 7, B minor, at that point I'm always wanting to hear, in my superimposition of harmony, F sharp half diminished to B7 altered. And it does make it sound a little more harmonic minor-y, but there's such nice colors in there, and they do work over this because your bass player here is just playing B. if you haven't done that kind of thing too much, half diminished, that would be an easy way to get into it, is if you put little finger on F sharp, 9th fret, then 7th fret of the 4th string A, a C on the 3rd string 5th fret, and on up if you want to the 9th fret of this 3rd string, that's an E. And then we're going to get B7 altered of some kind. This is practically straight out of Bach. So here's D sharp, 8th fret, 7th fret, 2nd string, F sharp, A, 1st string, 5th fret, and our flat 9, the C natural on the 8th fret, 1st string. I guess in this context it would sound neoclassical, but to me yeah, there's some nice colors if you don't state it that obviously. I'm going to try it a little bit here. I'll throw it in, and your ear might pick up when you're hearing. It's mainly the D sharp that's the culprit. Really makes it stand out. So there's C. There's the B. Here's E minor. So E minor. E minor. There was a little of it there. You heard the harmonic minor stuff in there with the D sharp, and also I ran the minor major 7 minor 6 thing too. These are all just places to start to have names for when you hear them. Say, oh, that's that Stairway to Heaven line, or whatever you want to call it. That's kind of the important thing, is that you have a way to both access it and recognize it. If other players are playing it, you can respond. If you want to interject it, you have access to it because you have a name for it. One other thing I would just briefly touch on would be intervallic mirroring, or just mirroring the intervals of a phrase. I did it a little bit right there before, so I'll do it a little bit more again. This would be something like taking related to the idea I talked about earlier of playing a phrase on one string. Now this would be playing an interval set, say a second and a sixth. So a second and a sixth. Now they're going to change and become minor second, minor sixth, major seconds, major sixth, etc. But it'll always, there's a second and a sixth. So right now, somehow that's really striking my ear as interesting. E to F sharp and F sharp to D. I also like it in chord building that these three are alphabet neighbors. You have a D, an E, and an F sharp. So we have three pitches that are closely related, at least geographically, next to each other. So I'm going to goof around with that a little bit over the track. So I hope this has been of some interest. I didn't like all of what I played there by any stretch, but it's early in the morning and getting up, and was happy to do this for you. I really hope it gives some good ideas, and I will upload it and let you know where the unpublished video is. Hope this finds you very well, recuperating, enjoying life. I'm happy to see you're healthy and happy. And please keep in touch. Ask anything you want, and I look forward to seeing what you do with it. Thanks, TJ.